guest, introduce yourself.
Just to build a better community, brought me out here today.
Thank you so much for coming,
I
man.
met this great brother today. Can you introduce yourself? My name is MacArthur, and it was very beautiful, and we need a lot in it.
To the Corvettes of choice, where's the Corvette Club at? The president.
Tell us where we are, brother.
We're at Moss number 27, currently meeting at the community center.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Empower 25 podcast. We represent logic, facts, and real talk. Today, guys, this is a special episode for me, man. I actually have my own special, very own blood brother with me, who goes by the name of Joshua Peppers, from Memphis, Tennessee, Black Haven, aka White Haven legend. Graduated from White Haven High School, played at Central Florida all 4 years, went on to become a Japan legend. Matter of fact, we got to say RIP to Kobe Bryant's dad, who you actually played for a couple of times. Yeah. And big bro, I'm just so glad that you're here. Thank you that we could shout out to you, man, because without you, we wouldn't be able to make this possible. Shout out to Mama for making this, giving us birth.
Absolutely.
Uh,
I just want to say thank you for hosting me, man. This is extremely beautiful for our family to see you thrive in such a way and do your own thing and have me on your platform. It's just an amazing thing, man. And us brothers, man, uplifting each other. It's definitely a great thing. So I'm happy to be here, man. Thank you.
Hey, man, well, you look good. Your skin shining bright. You've been back in the gym and you've been inspiring me, bro. So let's jump into it, man. Everybody want to know, man. We got to jump into the whole basketball conversation, right? So, what is it about the game that you just love? And then when you found the love in Memphis, was there something different that you got overseas that you couldn't get in the States?
So, I mean, obviously growing up in Memphis, basketball is a huge sport. We're bred a different way. All of us, that's what we were taught to do. Sports is just our way out of the negativity of the circumstances that we're in. Memphis is a very harsh city, and being born and raised there, we see some things that became norm, right? But
Mm-hmm, for sure.
when you excel in sports, right? That was the one way out. That was your outlet from all the negativity, from all the naysayers and this, that, and the other. It made you stand out from the people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So growing up in Memphis, man, just playing ball gave me that outlet to experience different things and went on to play, AAU basketball. And that's
Black
where
Hawks.
the Blackhawks, yeah. So that exposure uh, really opened my eyes to a different world, right?
Right.
The Blackhawks were in a different part of town. And if you're familiar with Memphis, you have North Memphis, South Memphis, or West Memphis, Orange Mound, and then you have like the Cordovas and the outside outliers of Memphis. So the Blackhawks were stationed in a different area outside, right? And so
They had Dame
to
Bradshaw.
yeah, and to be able to experience that different side of life, right? To see how they were bred and how they didn't have to deal with the social part of things, but they had the
Mm.
basketball to deal with.
They had the love for the game,
They had the love for the game, but
where
they
we
didn't
were
have.
coming from is survival.
Yeah,
But they
this is
come from a good,
survival,
well,
right?
they had the love for the game.
Right. So for us, it was a little different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So being able to see that and realize that there's another way of life that we can live, right? We don't
Mm.
have to struggle to play basketball and to live, quote unquote, right? So, and then, AU led into another thing, right? So now I'm getting exposure and I'm playing well in high school and, all over the place, my name's here, there, whatever. Um, I got the opportunity from UCF to further my career. I had a lot of, a lot of schools interested. But if I'm
Yeah.
being really honest, man, I didn't take school seriously. And there was a lot of things that, tried to persuade me to go to the negative side of life, but I just continued to stay on my path. And um, ultimately, I got the grades I needed. Uh, took the ACT, got a good grade on that, and I went on to UCF, right? So I escaped, right?
Right.
And that's
Right.
very hard for a lot of people coming out of Memphis, right? And so when I
Yeah.
finally escaped, the world opened up. Florida
Mm.
is an oasis of vast opportunity, right?
Yeah,
Um,
bro. Not to cut you off, bro, but what
mhm,
like I always wanted to ask you this in that time frame. What was your mindset? Like you getting recruited. I remember the coaches coming to our houses.
mhm.
Like we running down the block trying to get to the house on time just to open the door for the coaches and stuff. What was your mindset at that time? Because you were open up to a whole new world that the hood had never seen. So what was that like for you? What were you
It,
just going through mentally?
it was different, right? I didn't know how to receive it, right?
Mm,
And my back was against the wall,
mm,
and I had to make it out, and I saw every opportunity as an opportunity to further myself away from what we grew up in, right? And
mhm.
I hate referring to it in a negative outlet because what I learned in the hood, so to speak, right, were
Yeah.
all great lessons for me later on in life, right? So now those things that I took for granted are the things that empower me now, right? So
Mm, mhm.
so it was great that those experiences pushed me to get outside of Memphis to see a better side of life, to do the things that I do naturally now, right?
Mhm.
Um, so those conversations that were had with those coaches, they were out of body, right?
Man, yeah, I
So
sat in
so they
on them.
yeah, so they talked about some things that I quite frankly had no idea what they were talking about,
Mm,
right?
mhm.
Hey, maybe you could be this and go overseas to play basketball. Hey, maybe you have the potential to play in the NBA. You can come here and be a superstar. And sounds great, right? You hear the goodness of it, but at the same time, but I'm always cautiously optimistic, right?
Right.
And, and for me and our family, like we have a cousin that played in the NBA, obviously, Cedric Henderson. So he was exposed. He played at Memphis, which is our hometown team, but
Mhm.
he went on to play in the NBA, right? He had the exposure of the different elements of life and always wanted that. So when I was talking to these coaches, I always had in the back of my mind his experience and how I could taste a little bit of that, right? So
Yeah,
how I could get as close as possible to that same type of circumstance, right? And so those were my initial thoughts, like how can I how can I get to the next level that would accommodate my skill set and would make me stand out from the masses of basketball players that are out there.
bro. What, bro? I remember it was what was the camp called back in Memphis? They used to have all the time. Was it CB? You know what I'm talking about, bro.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
And
about. Yeah.
bro, we was at the defense center, and you caught a
Mhm.
body, dunked on
Yeah.
the guy.
Hmm.
uh that was the moment I was like, oh, my brother is really that dude.
Hmm.
Did you ever feel like you were that guy? Because you, to me, you were to the hood, you were superhero, you were like Jay-Z of the hood. To
Hmm.
me, it was like just my brother. I know he gonna
Hmm.
come home, we're gonna play the video game, we're gonna eat snacks.
Right.
Bro,
Right.
did you ever feel like I'm him? Did you ever
No.
feel, why is
No.
that? You always been humble. I want to know why.
I mean, it's hard, man, because like again, where I came from, right?
Yeah.
Um, you had to earn your keep. You had to
Mm,
you had to constantly battle for anything, right? We played
yeah.
ball in the streets. Bobby Lewis,
Yeah.
considered my other brother, and all the people I played with fought every day to the nail to just say that I won the day, not necessarily saying that we're the greatest of anything, right?
Right,
So,
right.
so when I started playing high school and I started averaging a lot of points, I averaged 30 points in high school.
Yeah.
Um, Now people are talking, right? We're saying that, you're amongst one of the top in the city. And then all of a sudden I'm top in the state.
Yeah.
But really
Yeah.
nobody really knew who I was because I wasn't in the limelight like that.
That's true. Yeah.
And that's where that underdog feeling came from, right? And I love that. I mean, that's what gets me going. Like I thrive off
All
being
right.
the one that's not known but known, and I do my
Yeah.
job and do it well, and that was it for me. So yeah, I never felt the need to be number one or number two in the state or everybody needs to know my name. Just know that I do my job and I work my butt off for it.
So do you think the passion of the game is what just kept you longevity? Like that's what it was more so, you know, coming from where we come from, a lot of people looked at it like that. You kind of answered it, but like basketball was the ticket out, you know. But for you, it seems more so just like the love of the game. You really didn't care because me, I'm looking at Big Bro like, oh, I want that. He.
Mhm.
But you've always been like after the game, like you expressive on the court, but after the game, people don't know this about you. It's like you go home, you probably play the video game, eat, chill, probably crack a few jokes, and you go to bed.
Mhm.
Like, but a lot of people think of you as a star and like you're
Mhm.
just this and that. So would
Mhm.
you just say, man, it's the passion for the game that just kept you motivated, or is it more so of like I don't never want to go back to where I came from?
It was a mixture of both, right? Um, obviously there was passion, right?
Yeah,
Tell me a time that you didn't see me playing basketball.
bro.
There was none.
I literally was just telling somebody this here in the office. I was like, there was my childhood consisted of at some type of gym, some type of camp, or I was on the road with my brother for AAU, or I was on the road for myself with AAU. It was just
Mhm.
nonstop basketball.
So there was always basketball, all the way from Valley Forge Apartments, where we could put crates and a cardboard box up just so that we could hoop, right?
Right.
We had a Fisher Price goal outside on the steps, so to be the actual 10-foot height so we could shoot on, right? We
Yeah.
took clothing hangers, put them on the door to shoot on. This is passion. That's the
Bro,
passion.
yeah. You remember we used to walk to the park in the
Mhm.
monkey bars. We used to play 21 on the monkey
On the
bar. You had to
monkey
shoot the
bars.
ball through the
Yes.
hoop.
Yes, yes. So yeah, obviously there's a lot of passion, right?
Yeah.
There's this deep rooted, and I would say it comes from our family. Like everybody played basketball, literally
Sport,
everybody.
some type of
So
sport.
the passion was there, but also there was this need for something different.
Mm.
I needed to see the other side of life, and I knew basketball was a vessel to get me there. So I leaned on that, and I cherished that feeling so that I wouldn't mess it up. Right? There were so many much more talented players around me,
Mm.
but the life overtook them. Right?
Right.
The
Gotcha.
drugs, the alcohol, the streets. Living up to the hype of what the hood was talking to them about.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it always stuck out to me that those guys were always not living up to their potential. So I wanted to continue at the pace that I was and further my knowledge of the game and stay my course so that I could one day have that potential to be on a platform where, you know, our cousins were and all these different people that I
Yeah.
was close with. So yeah, man, it was a mixture of both, man. I just wanted to excel.
Yeah, bro. And you just literally touched on something, man. You talked about the people that was back in the hood, and people see like the glamorous stuff, and people don't know what I know, and me and you have talked. there has been times where you're overseas and I call you after practice, or you call me after practice or after a game, and we just talking just like this, and
Right.
but we always had a cup in our hand, right? We always
Right.
had a cup in our
Right.
hand. Talk about the mental stress that athletes go through just during the season, away from your family. And this can be college, overseas. How
Hmm.
were you dealing? Because I know in college you got into a little stuff. I know overseas you got into a little stuff. But what was it? Because you were away from family, friends. I mean,
Hmm.
how was that mental stress for you, or how is it for just athletes? Period.
I really would wish that I would have took college a lot more serious. Um, I reached a peak, right? I was extremely talented going into college, and then in college, I kind of maintained my weight, if that makes sense. I did
I know. I
I did what was deemed necessary. I worked out. I worked out afterwards, but
yeah,
I could have been better, right?
yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
college was a mental. I can't even explain it. It took me on a trip, like
Because it was
just
different from
seeing
you coming from Memphis to
every
Orlando,
single facet of
totally
life
different
was
world.
just totally different, right?
Yeah,
From coming from a place where blacks and whites were segregated pretty much, right? And then
yeah,
going to a place where race was non-existent. I mean, it's existent, but in a sense, it was so biracial that everybody intertwined with each other. And some of my best friends are white, and now, the conversation's a little bit different. And then in sport, it's exactly the same, right? And you take it to the next level where these become your brothers and people that you associate life with, like,
mm,
and that became such a wild experience for me. And yeah, life was just in such a crazy whirlwind that I got caught up. I did what everybody else did. I partied all the time.
yes,
And
yes, and
I
we know, you it didn't your karma didn't come to you just yet, but it came to me. I got kicked out of college. Most people don't know that I did go to school and play ball, but unfortunately, it got taken away from me because partying too much, and
Mhm.
you know but I live my basketball life through my brother, but now
Absolutely.
you're retired now.
Mhm.
Let's talk about it. A lot of athletes don't talk about when it's time to hang up the shoes, man. Talk about that process so people will know, man, how it is. What's
So
the life after basketball?
in order to get to that point, we got to go back a little bit into becoming a professional athlete, right? Another completely different process.
Mm,
Now, the responsibilities on you, right? uh, Working out and sharpening your skills and being prompt, being on time, being professional, right? These are all requirements that are unspoken, but you need these qualities, right? So, um, yeah, becoming a professional athlete, I mean, it was in me because I had great mentors in college, Dexter Lyons and a bunch of guys that played with me. It was a great experience in college, and my hat goes off to them, him, Troy Limback,
mm.
Michael O'Donnell, great leader,
He
right?
was a heck of a point guard. I let
Amazing
Mike
point guard.
know, man. He the year I think it was 2005. Y'all went to the 2000 NCAA tournament, and for me, I just think bro just lived up to just that underrated, that underdog moment that you were just talking about, man. So I've always loved
Exactly.
this game.
And I can name my whole team because I just had a great
No,
group
y'all
of
were
guys,
special, man.
right?
That 2003, 2004, when y'all won the ASUN conference championship,
Conference
those teams were
championship.
special.
Yep. Went to the tournament twice. Great experiences. Not many people get to experience that.
Hmm.
So I go on to say this, like, so I got this experience. I talked to a lot of people. Mentorship was great. And once I became a professional athlete, there was something in me that just said I needed to be the best scorer in the entire league. And I did it twice, right?
Yeah.
And then I got the titles and I'm known as one of the best scorers in the league, but something was missing, right? I wasn't winning as much, right? I'm like trying to figure it out. The selfishness in me
Mm-hmm.
taking over, and it wasn't until maybe my fourth year.
Mm-hmm.
So many years, it's kind of hard to recall. But I think it was my fourth year when I went to Iwate Big Bulls in Japan, and I teamed up with a coach, Coach Dye,
Mm-hmm.
and a former teammate, Trent Blackledge, and Scooty Randall,
Mm-hmm.
Gino, and some other cats. And it was there where I met my match, right? Uh, I thought I was the best scorer, thought I was the best player, thought I was the best this, that, and the other. And I read this book that Coach recommended for me, Sacred Hoops. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and it talks about the journey of being part of a system, right? And learning the sport
Yeah.
in a way that benefits everyone, right?
Got yeah.
It was at that point where I learned that basketball is a team sport. Cra-
It
Crazy
took you
enough,
that
right?
long, huh?
Yeah, honestly, right? So, and what I mean by a team sport, I mean the fundamentals, right? The mental aspect,
Yeah.
the IQ of the game, knowing what points are more valuable versus what can be looked over, and all these different things, scouting,
Yeah.
everything came about that.
Got you. Got you.
Leading on the next following years, we went on. I got hurt. We were one game from the championship. I got hurt. We lost. Um, I went on to another team. I went back to Fukuoka,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where I won my first championship.
Mm.
Why did I win my first championship? Became the best teammate that I could be. That's what an underdog mentality took over.
Do you think communication was a big part of your mission when you
One
became a good team?
thousand percent. One
Okay.
thousand percent. So that's
Do you,
where I took the game and I started studying not only myself but my teammates. What
got
asset am I? What asset is he? What can
wow.
we do together?
Wow.
So
Yes.
once I started understanding how one hand washes the other, I started putting together ways within the game to play the game.
Mm.
So it became challenging to execute, but I also was able to help others overcome their hurdles and their barriers, right? So the result was a season of 60 and 8 losses.
Mm. Wow.
Why? Everybody played a part.
Got you.
Everybody used their strengths
And
and
knew
to
they roles.
right. The game slowed down to me after that season.
Got you.
Subsequently, championship after championship after championship. Um, and it was an eye opening experience for me to learn the game. My IQ got tremendously sharper, and I wanted to help others more than I wanted to help myself. And that was the part where the game took a different
Mm.
turn for me, and I was just happy to be a part of it.
You know, that's crazy. You say that somewhere in the Quran it says, Allah is pleased when a man gives up his selfish ways just to show love to his brother. I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like that. I put my need, I mean, I put your needs before my needs, and that
Mhm.
makes Allah pleased. And I feel like that's what you did on the court. Now, there's some of that stuff that you learned on the court, learning how people play their roles, stuff like that. Has that transitioned to like off the court?
1000%.
Mm,
And that's another point. The Japanese lifestyle, the culture. Let's talk about culture. Let's talk about, coming from Memphis, being a small town city boy, experience in Florida, right? Again, back to the mixed race and so many different facets of life, right? Understanding how they operate and how we used to operate and how small minded some of our thinking was in Memphis
yeah,
and to get to Florida and you meet people from Miami, Boca, who have experienced the finer things in life, right? And then you start talking about going to Japan, which is even more mind blowing. You start talking about the culture and how they live for their recessors, and their kids, and the kids' kids, and the grandpas left $500,000 for their kids' kids.
Got you.
The culture, how they treat one another, how they are the most loving people in the world. Like I've
Mm.
never seen anything like it. Like you walk down the street, man, and there's zero trash cans, but there's no trash on the streets.
Wow.
And it's in complete mind. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
it's out of body, man. And just to experience that culture, to experience some of the things that they did, timeliness is one of their key facets, right? Being on
Yeah.
time. I cherish that to this day. I'm always 30 minutes ahead of time now because of what I did in
I
Japan.
feel you on that. I feel you, big bro.
You know, taking all the details into consideration. If you filled out an application in Japan and you forgot a certain letter, you had to redo that entire application.
Got you. Wow.
So to be prompt and to be precise and to be timely was some of the things that I learned in Japan that literally have reshaped my life.
Mm.
Right.
Wow. So over there, when you were over there, when things were going over here in America, like we see today, it's 2024
Mhm.
election year, but before even election year, we had a lot of racism going on, a lot of, I guess, crucial things you would say. Do you feel like athletes have a platform to voice their opinion on those certain things? Explain why, but also if they do have the platform, why don't they speak up more?
It's fear. I mean, a lot of guys don't speak out because of fear. You
Mm,
know,
powerful.
our platform is extremely big, right? So
Right.
anything we say can and will be used against you,
Used against
right?
you. Got you.
You know, and you know that's why we're taught to, you know, have an opinion, but in a way that avoids conflict, right? You
Hmm.
know, and you know, for me, I stayed away from it purely
Yeah.
because I have my opinion, just as everyone else in the world, but I'm not the strongest of opinionated people. I like to hear your opinion. I want to hear what you think, and we can debate about it, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Agree to disagree, or to agree to agree. That was my way of thinking.
Hmm.
Some of the guys that you know that I partner with, or my colleagues in basketball, uh,
Yeah.
they went the other route, right? They
Hmm.
spoke their mind. They were very articulate about some of the things that they felt strongly about, whether it be racism, whether it be religion, or um, you know, thoughts about the game, whatever it may be. You know, our platform is massive, so
Yeah.
our words speak volumes. I mean, look at it. We're talking about Amber Rose at this moment, who is one of Donald Trump's biggest spokesperson, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine if LeBron had that same
Got you.
conversation,
Yeah.
right?
It'd be
Imagine,
chaos.
yes, it'd be chaos. It's an uproar. So yes, our platform's massive. It's just a matter of how we use our platform to speak on those things.
Got you, bro. So look, I'm gonna go ahead and shift it, man.
Mhm,
We talked about basketball, bro, and last week you called me, and it was probably one of the realest conversations we probably ever had. I had never thought you felt like that, for one, and then two, it was just like, I don't know, it was like an out of body experience because my big brother had told me something I had never really heard come out, his mouth, pause, but
mhm,
it was special. Like, everybody know, well, for those who don't know, I struggled with alcohol. Once I got kicked out of school and our cousin that got killed, I went into like a real bad depression.
mhm,
And the bottle was my answer for a lot of things.
mhm,
I went to a psych ward in rehab twice,
mhm,
and I still go to AA to this day.
mhm.
But you told me when we talked, you said I had opened up Pandora's box because there was a lifelong family addiction going on in our family. I guess that I was blind to, didn't know. Would you
Both of
like to
us.
speak? Would you like to speak on that?
Absolutely, man. Like, you know, we think back to our family's history, right? And
Yeah.
we were ignorant to the fact that, a lot of things were happening that, we just didn't understand. We thought it was a big party, right?
Yeah,
Um,
for real.
and I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing anything or anyone. There was a lot of good times, a lot of good things had in those time frames.
For real.
But and I'm not speaking on alcoholism or smoking weed or drugs or anything like that. I'm just speaking on depression. Like
On God. Yeah.
there
Yeah.
was a lot of depression in our family, you
Yeah.
know, because of financial situations
Oh,
and just the circumstances we were in, trying to better ourselves, and the
yeah.
pressure that surrounded our family. Right, we wanted to be better. We all wanted each other to do something great.
Yeah.
And some of us went on to do that and
Yeah.
excel in such a way that was amazing, right?
Right.
Cedric, Jeanette, all of our family that went on to be some of the biggest, in their respective field.
Danielle. Look at Danielle. She's doing awesome.
Absolutely. Boss, Vincent Hunter, right?
Yeah. Yes,
You
sir.
know, a city boy who changed the entire outlook of a school system.
Mm-hmm.
Like he
For
does
real.
so much for
For real.
the school, and his name will forever be remembered because of what he done for all of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Depression's real. It's a real thing. And basketball was the love of my life. There's nothing that could have taken me away from basketball. Um, Eat, sleep, think, sleep, all basketball, right?
Oh, yeah.
Um, but then I got hurt 2 years before I retired, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tore my hamstring. I was out for 6 months, and I returned, but I wasn't 100%. Played, still won,
Yeah.
still won, but
Yeah.
I was injured, right?
Yeah.
Um, Side note: the coach that I had a chance to play with, that I was speaking about earlier, Coach Okatani died, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Called me up to play on his other team in Sendai. Um, Went there, and if I'm being completely honest with myself, a little out of shape, right? Um, but battling through, kind of injured, worked hard as I could, but subsequently got injured again. I was cut that season.
Yep. Yep. I remember that.
We were 12-0 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
By me.
Mm. Mm.
This is where
Mm.
everything came to a screeching halt.
Mm.
Um, I felt like the game had did me wrong. I felt like I gave in to a team system, and I wanted everybody to equally benefit. We're winning. We're doing things right. What did I do wrong? Why am I being cut? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And for 6 months, and I really want to thank a guy named David Halton, who um, one of the owners and sponsor of the team at the time, who really looked out to. I didn't want to go home, and he made sure that everything was great. Apartment, XYZ, took care of me. Really stand up guy, and I love him for it. But in that time frame, I had the biggest battle of my life.
Mm.
I had to face my biggest competitor, which was me. Um, Dude, it was the worst, best experience of my life. Every morning I had to get up and face me. I had to go work out. I had to figure out how to escape the sadness of I just been cut and I don't have a team that wants me.
Yeah.
But then be motivated to work out daily and become something better, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The game
Yeah.
was no longer my passion, it was my business,
Mm.
right? So now
Gotcha.
I'm struggling with everything. How do I get out of this? How do I do what's right? And I want to
Uh-huh.
thank another person, Bingo Mariex, who is my other brother.
Hey, big bro. Yeah, it's another big brother.
Bingo, I don't want to talk about his business, but I do want to shed light on his experience in life. Um,
Yeah.
this guy was, workforce. He did everything right, but he wasn't given the chances that everyone else was. But he was so positive, right?
Yeah.
And when that time frame ran out for him, the way he maneuvered and used God as his pillar, and how he maneuvered through life in such a strategic way was kind of a blueprint for me. So,
Mm-hmm.
with talking with him,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of building my process up, I was able to get through that, and I went on to another team, and believe it or not, we won a championship that same year, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
I think that I'm going back to Japan, and
Yeah.
COVID hit, and I'm not able to get back over. So you've heard the story of someone saying, like, you want to retire, but you want to retire in your own terms.
In your own turn. Yep.
That don't happen. That
Gotcha.
is that is a fictional story. Um, yeah, man, and I wasn't ready to retire, but I have a beautiful family. I had a wife. I have a wife, and I have a daughter, and you know, I spoke to them about what the next steps may be.
Mm.
And I was unprepared, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
as most athletes are, because it comes to a screeching halt when you talk about transitioning into the next life, right? The transition is the part that is the scariest part of being a professional athlete. You talk about an identity crisis. Imagine taking the one thing that we love the most. It's your identity. It's what you eat, sleep, and breathe. You wake
Mm-hmm.
up every morning doing this one particular thing, and then in the next breath, it's gone.
Mm.
How do you cope? What's next? 90% of all athletes do not have an exit strategy when they leave basketball. I was a part of that 90% because I was not able to even see the brighter side of life outside of basketball. Uh, Once I started to actually think about the fact that, well, I may have to retire, I may have to consider what's next, it was already too late. This is a year within
Mm.
me having my last contract. Uh,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
and so now the depression sets in, right? Because you're trying to find out who you are and what you do best, and how are these skills transferable, and who am I to society? You apply for all these jobs and you get denied because you don't have a resume.
Mm.
Your
Mm.
resume speaks of basketball, which are all transferable skills. There's a lot within it that I learned later on, but initially, at 38 years old, I didn't have a resume.
Mm.
I graduated college. I didn't go get my master's, and I'm searching hard to find my place in life. That led
Mm.
to a deep, dark depression, and the amount of nights that I just set up and drink and smoke cigars and even sometimes marijuana. It was depressing, right? And that's a
No.
lot of that's something that I that part of life was such a blur that you know many players go through, but they don't talk about it, right? They don't talk
Yeah.
about the negative part of the transition, right? They don't talk about being vulnerable to what's to come, right? And that's why it's my duty to express those thoughts, and to talk candid about some of the things that I've been through and how I overcame those situations, and through the power of having a great wife who's strong and always wants the best part of me. Um, we had a son, Julian. Um, I have to be there for my son. We grew up, we have fathers, but they were never in our lives like that. So to me, that took over my selfish thinking. I became a father first before anything. And that helped me transition into be a professional in the workforce, how to articulate myself in a way that was presentable, how to
Mm,
be clean and not deal with some of the negativity that surrounded me, and how I struggled
mm.
uh, with this identity crisis. It was it was it was the worst year of my life. Like it was tough to even see what was wrong, or to navigate on how.
And then, like, not to cut you off, big bro, but like you just brung it up. You said we didn't really have fathers. And your dad, yes. My dad, little different. I listen to the Kendrick Lamar song a lot,
Mhm,
Father Time. You know, he
mhm.
says, I got daddy issues, that's on me. And you know, big bro, my dad is one of the most got the most wisdom probably in the world, right?
Sure, for
It was
sure, for
my
sure.
hard-headed self, my stubbornness, you know, him, I guess you could say him not being with our actual mother or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, I took a step away from him. I didn't want the lessons he could give me. I didn't it took for me to bump my head a couple of times to be like, you know what? My dad been trying to teach me this for so long. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Do you feel like us not having our father figures in that picture, that's I ain't gonna say that's like what messed us up, but do you think like we missed something in those areas from what 13 to 18? Do you feel like we missed anything?
All men need fathers.
Mm, come on now.
All all
Talk
men need
about it.
fathers.
Talk
All
about it.
men need fathers.
Let's
Uh,
go.
and the reason I say that is because, you know, tidbits from knowledge of experience, and some of the things they went through, and teachings, right? You know, financial literacy, um,
Yeah,
equality,
yeah,
unity, talk about life itself, and some of the benefits of life, being a father, husband, brother, um, in the society, right?
yeah.
Being being amongst the world but not in the world, right? All these things can be taught through the father, right? Granted, we had we have the best support system in our mom and our
Facts,
aunt and our family
facts,
that
facts.
any man could ever have. And these are, I call them our wolf pack. Those two women have literally and figuratively raised us, and even to this day still mentor us to the utmost men that we could be, right? And it's
Man,
it and it's because they always want the best for us, right? But
yeah, no matter
again,
what we do.
it's nothing to take away from them, because they've done an excellent job raising us.
Great job.
Just there's some things that men can teach men how to avoid certain things that they've done in life to better themselves, to be, prepared to be a father or a husband, right?
Yeah. Man, and so most definitely, I just remember growing up. A lot of times, I just picked up a lot of things from you, our cousin To, and things like that.
Mhm.
And it's not to say like you guys just grew up in the wrong way or just were horrible examples. It's just you guys were we got 8 year
Yeah.
difference, right?
Mhm.
So when I saw you guys, acting young and dumb as you guys rightfully, should do at that
Mhm.
age, I thought, oh, I could do that times 10. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
Big bro wrecked the car, I'ma steal a car.
Yeah.
And you know how that story went.
Exactly.
Uh
Exactly.
so yeah, I definitely I first of all I want to give my dad a shout out. Okay. Shout out to Mr. Bailey. Okay, my dad is a great dad. But
Yeah.
yeah, I do want to. First of all, I want to commend you too, big bro. You really did do a good job for just setting a great blueprint for me. And growing up how we grew up, bro, I never really got a chance to just I guess tell people like, yo, there's more to life. And I never had really lived the life yet. I just saw it through you. I
Mhm.
knew, going to summers to Orlando or just,
Mhm.
seeing you on TV, seeing you overseas. I just knew there was more to life. And then I was getting the game from my dad. And I tell people all the time, like I had great male role models in my life. The dumb decisions I made, them on me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Mhm.
But I wanted to give you your flowers because big bro, you have done you're a great father, great
Mhm.
husband.
Mhm.
just a heck of a brother, and you're a great leader, bro. And I want to tell you that here on this platform, man.
Thank you.
Now we gonna ease it up just a little bit because we just kind of had a real little deep one.
Yeah,
Hard-
before we go on though, I do have to acknowledge a lot, man, that we sit here now on your platform, right? And we're talking about um, life and how it panned out and how we're in this different phase of life. But, I just want to give you your flowers as well. Um, you helped me in a way that you probably don't understand.
I don't.
When you when you were having your issues with the bottle and
Mhm.
um I came home and I had to we had to have that conversation men to men, right?
Yeah.
Because I just always want the best for you and I never want to see you fail in any way. We had that conversation and I made a promise to myself at that moment, because I saw something in you. We always talked about you being ahead of your time and doing the things that you were doing so far ahead of when people were gravitating to the status quo and trying to be this and trying to be that. We're on your podcast, but you had a podcast over 6, 7, 8 years ago. I mean,
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
like this was something you did on your own, right?
Yeah.
And you were so far ahead of your time as far as your mental processes, and you never wanted to be amongst the crowd. You always wanted to stand out in your own way. You didn't buy Jordan. You bought Vans. You didn't buy. No, seriously. You like if I'm like, am I lying? Right? No. So you always did, the opposite of what everyone else did, and that's what separated you from the crowd, right? And I
Yeah.
always saw that in you. You were
Mm.
always something that I want to be better than what everybody else is. I can't be amongst everyone else. Even now, defining your religion and finding who you want to be, that's on you. You've always
Mhm.
searching for knowledge, right? Regardless of where it may be, whatever rock needs to be unturned, you've done that. And so to see you go through that and understand that you were so far ahead of your time that you needed time to slow down to catch up,
Mm.
it it
Mm.
really hit me in a way at 38 years old that I had to go through the same process. So, for me to you, right, when I was going through my situation of, self identity, uh, not getting rid of the sport, but leaving the sport and trying to find out how to survive in this cruel world, that was an eye-opening experience for me to change my ways and to understand that there is a better way. Just like how you found uh, AA and found, your knowledge, and the things that you went through to better yourself, it really helped me excel to who I am today. So I want to thank you and give you your flowers as well.
Bro, thank you. But as you was talking, bro, I don't know if you remember, but if you can remember, I want you to tell the story. We're at UCF, we were practicing. It was probably like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, remember? We were at it. We were going at it, and you just kept beating me out, crying. I'm red in the face. But you said you saw something in me that night. I can't remember like real for real, but like, do you remember that night?
Vividly, vividly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, to tell the story, right? So you came to Orlando, you were staying with me at the time, and um, I was getting ready for season and working out, right? And we just
Yeah.
finished the workout, and you know, I pride myself, and it's just something between us, right? You've never beat me in nothing, and
I haven't.
I'm gonna
No, I
continue to
have.
keep that over
I got
your
another
head.
story too after this one. I got another story.
Yeah, so I'm gonna
It's gonna be great.
continue to keep that over your head. So that night, you was like, "Yeah, yeah, we done," and then my boy, who I was working out with, they left. So it was just me and you in the gym, and he said, "Let's play 1-on-1." So we played, and I just bullied you the whole way the first game, right? Just straight bullied you, straight 10, like 10-3 or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just bullied you. You was like, one more. So played another game. It was like 10-5, right? And you still at me. And you said, one more. This time you had like a different look on your face, man. And it was the look of determination and pride, bro. And I mean, I don't want to expose that, but you did, right? And like being real, I was like, yo, what the hell? What?
He's never
And
gonna beat me. Why he crying
yeah,
about this?
and I'm like, I'm really finna give it to him right now. Pause. I'm gonna make sure that he understand that he'll never beat me, right? And so
Yeah.
we going at it. You never quit, and no matter what, you tried, and you wouldn't give up. You was so tired. I'm talking like you was breathing like you was about to faint, but something in you just wouldn't give up. You wouldn't give up. And
Eh,
I remember telling you, remember this feeling.
yeah, I was just about to say. I was just about. You told me, remember this feeling, and bro, that has carried me this whole time. That feeling, bro. And it wasn't a feeling. We haven't even talked about it. It wasn't a feeling of mama losing the house and I was there, you was overseas. It wasn't a feeling of our cousin getting killed,
Mhm.
stuff like that. It wasn't none of that. It was that moment where, I had hit rock bottom. You saw it. Like you just said, you had to come back to Memphis and check up on little bro. And I don't know what night it was, but bro, vividly I can remember you saying that. And I was like, yo, I'm about to get my stuff together, bro, because I don't never want to feel like this ever again, man. For real, bro. So on a lighter note, yes, I have never beat you, bro. And this is a
Mhm.
crazy story. Back in the day when Big Bro we used to play the game, we get our basketball players. Back in the day, everybody, Allen Iverson, Kobe, Vince Carter,
Right,
T-Mac, right?
right.
This the only dude that I still know plays with Keith Van Horn. Who is Keith Van Horn, fool?
All right. That's on a lighter note. But Keith Van Horn, man, hands down one of my favorite players of all time.
Yo, this man
Most
used to whoop
people,
the whole hood with Keith Van Horn.
nobody knows who he was or who he played for, but to me, he was the oxymoron. He was the KG
Bro, and
slash
you
Kevin
mimic
Durant,
his game, bro. You mimic your 6'6", could shoot,
all of them, man.
slasher. Bro, you
Yeah,
mimic the game, bro.
he was that underdog that nobody knew. But if you went into the stats and looked at his stats, right? No, this dude was averaging like almost 40% from the 3-point line. He was over 50% from the two.
Yeah.
His defensive rating was high. Like this dude was weird, but good.
Yes, bro. But what made how did you even how did he stand out to you? That's what I'm trying to figure out. I never understood it, but
But that goes into a realer, like it goes into another thing, right? I see the greatness in the underdogs. I've always
right,
had
because
that.
remember there was a time where I used to love Mike Bibby, remember?
Right, right. I have this thing for underdogs, people, the unspokens, right? The ones
Yeah,
who 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 kill, but nobody praised them, right?
got you.
And I love those players, man. That gets me
Get you
going,
going, right? Yeah.
right? Like the players on the team, man, that can trip the Draymond Greens, man. Those
Got
guys, they do something for me, right? Because everybody has a role in this life, right? Everybody does something great.
you. Hmm.
Everybody does something that contributes. It just depends on what your role is. And when you find out that you can maximize and be a positive role within your role and be great at it,
Yeah,
oh man,
yeah.
that's what gets me. That the guy who was the MVP but never claimed he was the MVP, the
Um,
humble guy, right?
got you.
That was
Humble
me.
yet hungry. That was your motto for
Yeah,
a long
yeah,
time.
the guy who averaged a ton of points, but nobody knew who he was until they played him.
Mm,
The guy who went through a brick wall for you and
yeah.
didn't average too many points. Love those guys, man, because every team had, and especially, and this is what I learned from the professionals and the ones who actually went to the NBA.
Hmm.
You know how many actual scorers there are in the NBA,
Ooh, off the top, I would just complete scores. I would say probably 15 to 20, like complete scores.
brother? Put any NBA player on another team in the world, and they'll be a superstar.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So what happens is you have to be good at other parts of
Yeah, other
the game.
parts. Yeah, and I want younger basketball players to listen to that too. It's not all about scoring. If I think
No,
Jason Tatum just said it too. When his shot is not falling, he looks at to where I can rebound. Can I defend more? Can I get a couple more stops? So yeah, I think it's not all about scoring. It's about how can you affect the game in a positive way.
in a positive way, right? And so that's what I mean. So like those guys who, are the 10th, 12th option, right? They are,
Mhm.
they're good and they can survive on any platform in the entire world. But um, there's so many great athletes. There's so many great players that you have to find a way to be positive on the sheet at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
So that's where it all stems from. And then when I started winning championships, started learning how to win, right? Using all
mm,
five fingers, right? Right.
yeah,
Each
yeah,
one of us work together for a common good, and how we work together is by gelling and by being together on the court and off the court, like-minded individuals, right? Um,
yeah.
all of that is a process that you don't see very often, and when you do see it, these are your elites, and you wonder why these people are so good and why these teams are
Mhm.
so good, right? So I
Yeah,
mean, I've always had that underdog mentality, and I always will, and I've always appreciated both the top and the bottom because there's lessons within both of them.
man, for sure, bro. Well, look, I got one more question because I know it's 8:30 your time, and I know you got wife and kids, so I ain't gonna. We can go all day. You know how
No,
me and
absolutely, absolutely.
you get. But I gotta ask this question: in today's age, who's the GOAT? MJ, Kobe, or LeBron, or do you have somebody else? And why?
I hate this question with a
I know you
passion.
do.
I hate this question with a passion because respectively, all three of the guys that you mentioned are the goats of their respective time frames,
Times,
right?
yeah. Yes, yes,
And
I
it's
agree.
hard to say which one's better or who, if, when, or then, or hypotheticals of how each one could dominate what, right? Because to me, Jordan is always the GOAT.
Right, right.
But then
Because
if I go and
time.
look at Kobe was the GOAT in his respective era, right?
Yeah.
We can't deny what LeBron's doing right
No,
now, that
gotcha.
the GOAT of right now. So how we look at that question depends on your lens of life, right? Depends
Mm.
on where you're at, right? And how old you are. Because like it's crazy, man. The game evolved in a way that's Jordan. I don't know if he would be,
Right, but you
a
don't know if
certain way.
LeBron could play in the physicality in the
LeBron
80s,
couldn't
90s.
play in the physicality of how the Knicks were back in the day,
Right,
where they'd have whooped his butt. You know what I'm saying? Like
exactly.
it's different now. Kobe, on the other hand, he kind of did his thing in both. So
The only reason, okay, here's my opinion, bro, because you just broke it down. You always break like you broke it down so well. The reason why I'm gonna say LeBron is because yes, Jordan, he played in a time where plumbers and stuff were getting off work and going into the game and go hoop. Kobe
right,
was in an era where it was real. He was in them trenches and he had to work to be great. I
right.
say LeBron because LeBron he came in with all the pressure, all the hype, and we had never seen somebody who was what 6'6", 6'8", run
Mhm.
like that, shoot like that, pass like that. I mean, he could play the 1 through the 5. So for me, for a person to be able to do it, everything on that floor at that level, I just gotta say that's the GOAT. That's just my opinion.
Hey man, I'm not here to debunk your opinions or anything like that. But yeah, that's your opinion. And opinions are like, we all got one.
Man, hey, you're right, big bro. Well, listen, man, I want to appreciate you once again for just joining us, bro. Uh, I love you so much, big dog, and
Man,
we're gonna do this again, big bro,
we
man.
have to, man. We have to, and I just I'm thankful to be on your platform. I'm thankful to be
Man, it's
able
love.
to speak life in abundance with you, man. This is truly a blessing. You know, we couldn't have seen this a year ago when we had these same conversations.
Yeah, that's why
Uh,
we're gonna have another one. Cause yeah, we didn't almost see this coming true, huh?
we didn't see this
Yeah,
coming to light, but I'm proud of you. I'm proud of where you're at. I'm thankful that you found your niche. You made the big move out to California. Huge, huge, huge for yourself and your future. Um, just want to wish you the best, man. And I'm thankful to be on your platform and be able to speak about my little small part of life, man. And
Nah, bro, it's huge, bro. They looking forward to hear this, man. For
yeah,
real.
but I'm
Uh,
thankful, man. I appreciate it.
got you, big bro. And I
All the
seen you
best.
later. Thank you,
Salute, big
big
dog.
bro. Love you, big
Yes, sir.
dog.
Love you, man.